Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to jump right in and do a complete diagnostic training on the FCAR F7SB. This is all about breaking down how the scanner is built specifically for the challenges you, as school bus mechanics, face every single day. Okay, so what exactly are we looking at? Well, this is a rugged, all-in-one Android diagnostic tablet. It's built tough enough to handle life on the shop floor, so you have everything you need right there with you at the bay. So, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about the problems you see every day. Then, we'll get into how the F7SB is your all-in-one solution. We'll dig deep into its key capabilities, walk through some real-world case studies from Ohio fleets, and then finish up by showing you how to go all the way from diagnosis to a finished report. First up, let's talk about the big one, the challenge you all know too well, the daily reality of trying to maintain a mixed fleet. You know how it is. You walk into the bay and you've got a Bluebird next to a Freightliner next to a Thomas. One's got a Cummins, the other has an International or a Detroit. Then you've got different transmissions, different brake systems. It's a lot to keep track of. So the big question is, how do you diagnose them all accurately and quickly? You know the old way, juggling a whole stack of slow, expensive OEM laptops for every single brand. It just kills your time and creates frustration you don't need. And all that pressure? It often leads to guesswork. You end up throwing parts at a problem, hoping one of them sticks. That costs time, it costs a ton of money, and when we're talking about school buses, safety and uptime are everything. There is absolutely no room for maybe. Okay, so how do we solve this? It really comes down to simplifying those complex diagnostics with one single tool that can handle the whole fleet. It's really a tale of two different approaches. The old way meant multiple laptops, expensive subscriptions, and a lot of wasted time. The FCAR F7SB way, that means one tool for all the major brands, which leads to fast diagnosis and, most importantly, accurate results. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the key features that really make a difference for you in the shop. These are the functions you'll actually use to get buses fixed right the first time. And let's be really clear here. We're not talking about some simple code reader. This is full system diagnostics. You're getting deep access to the engine, the transmission, whether it's an Allison, Eaton, or ZF, the Bendix and Wabco brake systems, body control modules, and the entire after-treatment system. This is what lets you see what the vehicle sees. You can watch live data streams, compare multiple data points on a single graph, and pull up freeze-frame data. This is how you stop chasing symptoms and actually find the root cause of the problem. Now here's the real game changer, powerful bidirectional controls. This is huge. This is where you go from just listening to the bus to actively commanding components. You can run a forced DPF regen, perform a cylinder cutout, test the EGR and DEF pump, even run Allison clutch tests, all right from the tablet. So think about a common DPF fault. First, you identify the code. Then, you use live data to check the soot levels. From there, you can actually command a forced regen right there in the bay. And finally, you confirm the system reset successfully. That saves a ton of time. All right, that's enough theory. Let's see how this tool actually solves problems in the real world with some case studies from fleets right here in Ohio. Okay, case study 1. An International comes in with a DPF regen failure. The code keeps coming back, it won't regen on its own, and the bus is about to get derated. And here's the result. A forced regen with the F7SB cleared the system right out. But more importantly, the live data showed a faulty sensor was the real problem. That quick find saved a $3,000 DPF replacement. That one fix can pay for the tool right there. Next up, a Freightliner with an ABS wheel speed fault. You've got the light on the dash, but the driver says the brakes feel fine. You know, one of those electrical ghosts that can be a real headache. So what was the solution? Well, the live data graphing showed an erratic signal coming from just one wheel speed sensor. It pinpointed the exact part to replace. That turns a frustrating electrical hunt into a quick, targeted repair. And for our last case, we've got an Allison with a harsh shifting complaint. The bus is shifting really rough, but when you pull codes, there's nothing there. So where do you even start? Well, this is where the tool's deep access comes in. The F7SB's Allison-specific functions let the technician run a clutch test and perform a full reset. And that fixed the whole problem without installing a single new part. So you've done the repair, but the job isn't quite finished. You still need to complete and document your work. And this is where you prove your work.
The F7SB lets you create and export detailed diagnostic reports. This gives you a clear record of the fault you found, the fix you performed, and confirmation that the problem is solved.
You know, it all boils down to this. Having the right tool improves your accuracy, it reduces downtime, and it increases safety. It's about having something you can really trust to get the job done right, day in and day out. So I'll just leave you with this question. With the right data in your hands, how much faster could you solve your next mystery fault? Think about that last tough one you had in the bay. That's the kind of difference this makes.